What if I told you unless you're riding with an ape, you were at a much higher risk on your motorcycle? Don't believe me? Keep watching to find out. So let's say I ran a mandatory contest to pick the winner of next year's Super Bowl. It cost $1 to enter the contest, and if you were right, you won $10. You'd probably take a look at the odds for next year to see who the good teams were, and you'd either go with the odds, just as they were written, or you might even pick your favorite team, regardless of the odds, because the stakes are pretty low in that contest. The most you could lose is $1. The most you could win is $10. Pretty low risk. Now let's change that contest some. In this new mandatory game, it costs $10,000 to enter, and you could win $1 million. You may not be real happy about being forced to play a $10,000 game, but I guarantee you that you would take your pick much more seriously because the stakes just went way up. And when you move from traveling on 4 wheels to traveling on 2 wheels, the stakes go up. The odds of being involved in a crash go up some, but the stakes go up considerably. The car's got metal all around the driver. It's got seat belts, airbags, and crumple zones. On a motorcycle, you're the crumple zone. So while some of the road strategy techniques going from a car to a motorcycle are the same, the stakes of understanding them and applying them on the road go up considerably when you choose to travel on a motorcycle. The increase in those stakes is what makes our road strategy so important. There's a huge difference between knowing how to ride a motorcycle and being a skilled motorcyclist. That difference is what can separate becoming a statistic on the road and finding a lifetime enjoyment from a fantastic hobby or even a primary means of transportation on a motorcycle. Many people can ride a motorcycle. They've got the basic controls of the bike. They can start and stop and keep the bike between the broad lines of the road. Unfortunately, many riders stop their development at this point. These riders add to the fatality numbers that scare prospective riders away from riding a motorcycle in the first place, and they contribute to the perception that riding a motorcycle is much more dangerous than it truly is. Developing the skill that you need to ride a motorcycle under control on the road is the first order of business when learning to ride. The MSF offers a great place to start learning the basics of riding a motorcycle, and you can move on from there to an intermediate or an advanced class and learn some more advanced skills. And it's important also to be able to perform the basics, so all the things that you did in the MSF class, it's important to be able to do that on your own motorcycle also. So while the technique to perform the skill is the same, from that small training bike to the bigger bike, things change when you try to perform those same skills that you did on the 250cc training bike when you get on your own motorcycle back at home. But the thing that separates a person who knows how to ride from a person who's become a great street rider is more than just basic control. You start with road skills and you refine and become a great street rider with road strategy. A lot of riders turn off mentally when they hear the subject of road strategy come up. They think they already have all the answers to that. They learn everything they need to know about road strategy in high school driver's ed. But remember, when you start riding a motorcycle, stakes go up, stakes are higher, so it requires more attention and focus of the rider. There are a whole lot of acronyms out there to help a rider with good road strategy. One that I like is APE, A-P-E. Not that kind of ape. This one stands for anticipate, prioritize and plan, and execute. So let's look at anticipate. When you're riding a motorcycle, we have a constant stream of information coming in. Traffic's in front of us, cars are pulling up to intersections and approaching from the rear. A great street rider does more than just adjust to the environment around them. They're also anticipating the changes and making adjustments on that information as well. So let's say you're riding down the road and a car abruptly stops at an intersection that you're approaching. You see that driver looking quickly left and right. A rider who observes this situation and sees that the driver appears to be in a hurry will anticipate that there's a higher likelihood that this driver is going to pull out in front of them. While we can never read minds, we can read clues, and there are often clues that will help us anticipate what others will or are likely to do on the road. Great street rider pays attention to the clues, and they are able to anticipate the actions and sometimes the mistakes of other drivers around them. So we anticipate, and then we prioritize and plan. Nobody likes to be tailgated on a motorcycle. Tailgaters put us at higher risk, and they're distracting to us as riders. But let's say you're riding down the road, you're approaching an intersection, and you've got a tailgater behind you. The tailgater is going to get some of your attention, but now that you're approaching the same intersection as we were earlier with that driver who is in a hurry, looking quickly left and right, and likely to pull in front of you, a great street rider is going to prioritize the situation. While having a tailgater and a driver pulling in front of us are both bad situations, the one that should take priority is that car pulling in front of us, because I can do more to control my response to that situation than to worry about that tailgater behind me. By prioritizing, we put our focus on the thing of greatest risk to us, and by planning, we can put a plan in place to deal with the situation that we're faced with. So once we do all that, then we execute. And by execute, I'm not talking about what you might want to do to the tailgater or the driver in a hurry, as tempting as that might be. No, we execute by anticipating the problem, prioritizing and planning, and then executing our plan of action. So in this instance, we can slow down a little bit to give us more time to react to the situation in front of us. That's going to give the tailgater more time to react behind us as well, and lower our odds of being rear-ended. We can also pick an escape route if the whole situation goes south, and let the insurance companies for the hurry driver and the tailgater settle it in the courtroom. So as I said at the start of this video, we have a constant stream of information coming into us as we ride. And this is only one possible scenario out of millions of possible scenarios that we'll see out on the street. But some situations are more common than others, and you'll see recurring situations. A great street rider is always anticipating those problems, prioritizing and planning for them, and then executing their plan of action to keep the mistakes of others on the road from becoming our problem. And why is it so important? Because the stakes are high. A 30-mile-per-hour crash in a car is one thing. It's a whole other thing when you're on a motorcycle. So if you want to reduce your risk, become a great street rider, be in complete control of your motorcycle with good road skills, but use a great road strategy to separate you from the pack and to keep you from becoming the next road statistic. Till next week, this is Kevin with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road.